I see it. You're seeing the All Blacks team pretty much full strength for this one. What sort of challenge does that present for you guys?
I think it just shows that what the intent is. This is not a friendly game, and it's never been. We've never had any friendlies against the All Blacks, and I think it's a good thing. As you can see, the team will also pull out as a group, and we're all excited, and we're looking forward to the battle. It's going to be a physical game as usual, and I think there'll be opportunities for some like great play for the Blacks as well.
I know you weren't playing that game, but how much as a group have you reflected on the Auckland Test match from earlier in this year, and have you looked at what didn't go well in that game, or have you tried to kind of park it?
Yeah, of course, you look at that. You gotta. We're not gonna lie about it. We looked at it and we saw what they did well, and we know what we need to do this game for the repeat of that not to happen. And I think we went ourselves. The beginning of the game, they really did well and they came out hard, and we kind of were on the back foot for a little bit. And yeah, but I'm sure we've learned from that.
Do you look to hold anything back, given you could be on a course to meet the All Blacks again in the quarterfinal?
No, nothing. We're not going to hold back at all. We're going to go all out for the game tomorrow. I mean, 82,000 people paid to come see us. There's no time to hold back. And I don't think we'll ever get this opportunity in our lifetime to play outside the World Cup in the Northern Hemisphere for a game like this. And we don't want to disappoint people that paid money to come see this game.
Just lastly for me, you'll be well across most of that All Blacks team, but Luke Jacobson starts at blindside playing for the All Blacks. What do you know about Luke and what sort of attributes do you think he has, and how can he impact the game, do you think?
Well, he's a big guy, a physical guy, a strong ball carrier, and he's got a good work rate. I think it's mostly obviously what Shannon Frizzell normally gives the team. He plays a similar kind of way. I think getting go forward ball, and it'll be good for the mauling too.
Yeah, you mentioned the 82,000. Why do you think it's sold out? Why do you think it's so popular?
Because it's one of the biggest rivalry in sporting history. The two teams, and it's rare for people. There's a lot of people from South Africa who live in the UK. They never get to see us play against All Blacks. They only see us play against England. And also the way we play. And I think how big the game is, how intense it is, and how physical it is. People wanna come and see that tomorrow. And I think people are just excited for rugby, and it's the last two games in England before everybody goes to the World Cup. International games. I think people are excited and hungry for rugby.
And is this a chance for you to land a psychological blow, beat New Zealand, make a real statement?
We can't. That's not gonna make a. I don't think it can, but I don't think it's also a big thing that it might have, because we're professionals. You can rock up in a day and they beat you, and you come back the next one and you get on top. So that tomorrow is all about tomorrow. We wanna give it everything on the field tomorrow. On the field, and it's all after that. I mean, they could be coming with a different plan that they will come with if we do get to meet them in the World Cup. So the focus is just on what we need to do tomorrow. Then after that, we start preparing for the World Cup.
You mentioned the physicality you expect tomorrow. Obviously, a big talking point here is red cards England have received. I'm not going to ask you to talk about those incidents because that's not fair. But how do you guys draw that line between intense physicality, stopping teams on the game line, not going too high while you do it? How much work?
We train on that every single time. At training, when we do goal review after trainings, you get let know that this is too high, this is on the border, or this is too much. So we train it over and over with our technique in all that we do, because rugby is played in this height basically right now. So with the mauling, the scrumming, breakdown, and the tackles as well. So we work as hard as we can. That's why when we go out there on the field, we can be as physical as we can, because I've trained it over and over, and the muscle memory is so on it. And I think, and it's uncomfortable down there. It's not nice when somebody so big is running at you and you have to get down low there. That's why you have to learn on how to meet him and how to work on the foot movement and having late level change and all those kind of things. Sometimes you get caught out, but it's not a habit that we always do. But it does take a lot of hard work, and that's one of the things when you do alignment camps, that while you're at your club already, because you don't have a lot of time in the Springboks, we're being coached by the Springboks. The coaches are sending us clips. This is not good enough for this level. And while Six Nation is going, we're watching and we're seeing the level that's been played in. So we're getting all that info. And you're thinking about that, then you go to your club and you do extras on the side and you work on all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of it happening. Even the walkthroughs, we walk when we're changing as you would clean and all that kind of stuff, because we know how much of it is important. And because at the end of the day, they're trying to protect us. And World Rugby is trying to protect us. They want to keep the game clean so that we are fine when we're done playing rugby. So that's why we work so hard on it, because it's really important.
Coaching point of view, how much discussion is going on around that topic as well?
Yeah, I think it's a key thing for us as coaches also to make sure that we coach in a good spirit. And like Siya mentioned, I think that is our standard when we go to training sessions, and they know how tough we are when it comes to that level change. You know, we know World Rugby, they're doing everything in their powers to make sure that they keep the game clean. So I think the best we can do also as coaches is to make sure that we keep on driving the standard that's required from World Rugby. And yeah, I think that's the best we can do as coaches also. Siya is 100% right. We always start from them when it comes to that level change. And yeah, we'll keep doing our best to make sure we keep the game clean also.
Finally, for me, one for both of you or either of you, but the red cards, the fear is it could decide a game at the World Cup. I know in Southern Hemisphere they tried this so-called orange card, didn't they? 20 minutes. Do you think on that topic and that debate around the red cards are actually working to lower that?
I think the key thing there is to keep the game clean. So whatever red card is, whatever World Rugby decides on how many minutes or if it goes for the full game, I don't think it's our space to decide. You know, we must just control what we can control. And the best we can do as coaches, like I said, is to make sure that we coach in a good spirit. You know, so that's the best we can do for us. But otherwise, if it's the right decision to go for 20 minutes or full game, I think that's for World Rugby to decide.
Yeah, I think we all know why. Also, they don't want to slow down the game. They want to make the game fast. It brings more people watching the game. We want to grow the game. We want it to be entertaining. So I think that's why instead of waiting and watching the decisions over and over, if you know it's a foul play, rather let somebody that's outside decide whether it's red or not, because also people get bored if the game is stopped over and over again, and we understand that as well, because it is a business after all, you know, because we want more people watching the game and we understand why it's happening. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but we just learn the rules and we manage our side of things by making sure we're learning we're learning and doing and making the proper hits so that we don't get into those positions.
Thank you.
Sure.
Just one more from me. See, the All Blacks spoke during the week about a game against the Springboks with the youth and the intensity that comes with it being a perfect launching pad for what's to come in France. Do you share that viewpoint, this being the perfect launching pad for your group getting into France?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's you test against yourself, you know, against one of the best teams out there, you know, and also that's why I'm saying there's no holding back. You go flat out and you see what works and what doesn't work, and you know what you can use and what you cannot use. So I think tomorrow is a perfect day for both teams to give it all out there, you know, and yeah, it's one of the best pitches I've ever seen. You know, it's great field, history behind it, and the history behind the two teams as well. I think it's going to be a beautiful afternoon, and I hope it's a ugly, tough game, also beautiful at the same time. It's either way, I know it's going to get there. It's always gets there, no matter how. But I think it will be good. I think it will be good for both teams.
Coach, hi guys. First of all, I hope you well. Coach, surprise, I'm going to ask you a question about Kane and Moody. What do you think are the qualities of Kane in the midfield that could make it potentially difficult for the All Blacks? And then just as part of that question, obviously we've seen Kanan's ability under the high ball and finishing. So if somebody said to you, hypothetically speaking, you possibly taking a couple of strings out of the game, you know, perhaps the cross kick and so on, that you would be better equipped to take on the wing. So if you could just give me your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I think if I look at the past 2 seasons with working with Kenan, we've seen his potential, and we've seen what he does at wing, And once again, people don't realize that probably when you play at wing in our system and how we defend, probably one of the toughest positions, if you look at how we defend and the reads they have to make on the outside. So, and for what he has shown for us in that space on the outside, he's showing a great potential of someone who can make good reads on the field. And to put him in tighter, I think it's gonna even make it better for him now when you put him at 13. There's one thing that I know for sure: wings. It's tough to play in that position in our system. But once again, when I look at the potential of the player and the maturity for his age, the decisions that he makes on the field, it shows a great potential, And it's something that as a coaching staff, we've always thought about for the past 2 seasons, and look at his physique, and the heart that he's got. I think he's got what it takes to become one of those great outside centers, and we know what he can do at wing for us, And also, if you look at the guy who's playing opposite him, Ioane started playing at wing, and if you look at him currently, the way he's playing, he's probably one of the best outside centers currently with his form. So I think Modi has got those potential. He's got also those qualities, So, but once again, I think it's a great occasion for him, I look at his game and compare it to one of those big boxing fights that normally happen once in a while in Vegas, the Mayweathers and against the Manny Pacquiao, So I look at the nature of this game. It's one of those big ones, in a neutral venue, normally against the All Blacks. You play them at home or away in New Zealand or in the World Cup game, So I think it's a massive occasion for our players. Like, once again, the preps that we had as a coaching staff, we played like a test match proper. We gave it a respect. And for us, we treated it like a test match. So it's going to be a massive game. But once again, I'm excited to see what Kenan Moody can do on the outside side.
Thanks, Zina. How's it, Siya? How's it, Mzwandile? Mzwandile, for you, obviously the Kenan Moody Rikoani matchup is hugely exciting, as you've said. While the Springboks are going in with a very experienced pack, the backline is not as experienced, has a little bit of an experimental feel about it. While the All Blacks seem to have gone in with all their big guns in the backline. How excited are you beyond just Kenan against Rico to see how the whole backline matches up against what is going to be one of the biggest challenges in world rugby?
Yeah, first things first. Once again, if you can look at what they've selected, they probably selected close to the best possible team they could have selected. And same goes with us, we've selected a team that's good enough to perform on a day and win the game for us. And the pack, like you've touched on it, it's the pack that played in the 2019 World Cup for us, if you look at the combination we've got in front. And looking at a guy like Faf, he has done the job for us. And Manilibok currently probably our best 10, playing week in, week out. I think it's a key thing also for us to get proper combinations in those at the back, Andre stays there, and it's been coming, every time he gets an opportunity, he's performing for us. And Ketley Arendse, Mapims, he's been around, he's done the job for us. And then I think it's also fair for a guy like Damien Willemse to get a fair opportunity at the back, he's been with us for the past probably 5 years. And so I don't think when I look at our team, but we see a very, very experienced team, but it's a matter of now giving some guys also an opportunity, And once again, listen, playing against the All Blacks is always going to be tough, And I think for those guys, they'll be able to also measure themselves if they've got what it takes to go all the way when they go to the World Cup and perform for us. So I think it's a good test for them. But once again, I think we've also selected a strong team and a team that we know for sure it got what it takes to win us the game.
Thanks, Zina. How's it, guys? Siya, you had a really good 40 minutes out against Wales, and Jacques mentioned earlier in the week that they're hoping to see you get through about 50 or 60 minutes this weekend. How are you feeling going into this game, and have they told you what your minute cap is? And lastly, what are you hoping to see your team get out of this final warm-up against the All Blacks?
Yeah, I felt last week felt good. I felt good in the weeks before as well. I haven't had any problems with my knee, and the minutes this week I go as far as I can go as usual, and hopefully like 60 minutes minimum. But obviously, I'm gonna give everything I can. If it happens that it's 40 minutes and I'm taken out, then so be it. But yeah, that's the mentality going to this game. And yeah, we just wanna see what works for us as a group. Wanna see what works and what doesn't work, so we can know going forward. And yeah, there's definitely no holding back in what we want to do as a group. And I think this is a perfect game to do it. As I said earlier, there's no better opposition to test yourself and see what works, what can work, what cannot make against the All Blacks.
Thank you, Zina. Thank you, Siya Stick. Siya, just to follow up on that, I know there's always a bit of apprehension after you come back from, so there must have been a little bit last week. And exactly how emotionally do you feel at the moment? Are you far more confident than you were last week in terms of that you've got a few minutes behind your back?
Yeah, definitely much more confident than I was last week. All the things I wondered about, I think I got to experience them last week. And the thing is this, it doesn't matter whether I'm confident or not confident. What's meant to happen is gonna happen. So I'm not gonna hold back anything, and try and protect myself to try and go to the World Cup, because that's not gonna help. If I'm meant to be hurt again, it will happen. But that's why I have to go with the same mindset as I did last week, give everything I can, go flat out and not hold back, and see where that takes me. But definitely much more confident, because before the game, the only tackles I took was a training which is controlled, and then last week it's not controlled. People can fall a certain way in a mall and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely gave me confidence.
Hi, gents. Hope you're well. Siya, I'm not expecting any businessman answer here, but you were part of a Sharks, revolution, that wanted to build, a global brand. You've experienced, South Africa expanding into the URC, and almost gaining a new fan base in Europe and stuff. Do you sort of believe that playing at Twickenham with another iconic brand like the All Blacks is not only a opportunity for you guys to treat your established fan bases, but probably actually gather some new ones around the world, particularly in Europe, as Springboks now?
Yeah, I think it's if obviously it's worked out for now, all that matters is the game tomorrow. People have bought into it, and I think it could be something in the future that could be done, because yes, we want to play well and everything, but also we want to grow the sport, and we want to go to places that people that don't get to see us as often, like a game like this. I think it's important, and I think it's great, because there are fans that are here, and how do they get to see us other than on TV? And an opportunity like this is huge. It works for us and for them. And I think, yeah, hopefully going forward, it's something that's done a little bit more. And like you said, gaining more and new fans that wouldn't have an interest in South Africa or New Zealand, I think, it's good for rugby. Anything that can bring people in, and we've seen it's work now, and hopefully going forward, maybe having more than one game at the stadium, maybe 4 teams playing on the day. I don't know, but I think this is great to bring everybody, and it's a beautiful field. It is really beautiful, and there's so many people that are gonna come and watch tomorrow. So if it works, I'm not against it. I really do love it. It will be different. And then, as the coach said, it's a neutral place, so it's amazing.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Skipper, can I ask you, Skipper? Can I ask you? Did I understand you correctly? Are you saying you guys are treating this as a once-off test match against the All Blacks tomorrow? You guys can't take anything out of this clash tomorrow, heading into the showpiece in France, though, or because a lot of terms we use is boxing. Oh no.
No.
Before you answer, can I also ask your coach as well, coach? Another issue that I need to ask you, and this issue has been addressed right through this week already, but I just want to hear from you though. The issue around Mani Libok. this is probably the best match where he'll be placed under immense pressure. Are you guys and your skipper, are you guys confident that this is another match where he can just improve and ahead of that showpiece in France?
I said the game is not treating it as a once-off, but we're gonna give everything. And I say it's a perfect game to test out what you can do, and it can work or the stuff cannot work. Then we know what to take with going forward, as a group. But it's not gonna be a game where we're treating it like a friendly. Definitely not a friendly. We're gonna do everything we can to try and win the game, but also try things in the game.
Yeah, regarding Mzwandile, I'm not sure if my English is sharp enough. I wouldn't call it an issue. For me, if you're going to talk about an issue, it feels like it's something that is not going well. Mzwandile is doing well for us at 10, and he's a very, very confident player, as you can see the decision that he makes on the field. And for us to be able to put 50 points against Wales away from home, it shows the people that are driving our game, that they've got a good confidence. So I wouldn't use the term issue. Mzwandile is doing well for us, and he's getting confidence in the position where he's playing. And for like any other kicker in the world, sometimes they do get off days when it comes to kicking to post. Even when a guy like Damien Valemse was playing at 10 for us, while we were playing well and managing to win against England away from home last year, end of their tour, even the games that we played against the top teams like France and Ireland, the way we were playing as a team, we were very, very sharp with energy, and then some different X factor in that 10 position, and that's what Mzwandile does also for us, So I wouldn't call it an issue, basically. I think what Liborg is doing for us at 10 is doing great, and hopefully he can just keep on growing in that position.
Coach, one of the very nice attributes of Marnie, which perhaps is sort of going unsaid at the moment, is his ability to fetch distance with his touch kicks, and do you think that could be in your game plan in particular important, especially considering your ability with the rolling mauls? And then just also, obviously, the New Zealand in the last game won the battle for the high ball quite convincingly. Has that been a big focus in the camp this week?
Yeah, I think, Stevie, the question you're asking now, you're going back to the answer I gave earlier on about Mzwandile. He's such a worry, There is one person who will miss the kick to post, but the next play, he will probably go for a good cross kick or go for a good solid pass, like you saw last week against Wales to Damien Valemse. That is the character of the person he is. He's got a big heart to make good decisions on the field, and that's exactly what you want in that position. And even remember, all the best flyers that we're talking about in the world, they were once also a bit up and down in their careers. The Moungas, they didn't become great by not trying to do things, and Mzwandile has got that heart, he doesn't stop trying. And that's one thing that I always explain to people, is that we always sometimes focus on the mistake that he does, but we don't look at the impact that he does on the game for us and what he does contributing towards those points where we score tries, So that's one thing I enjoy about him. And for every meter, for example, when you go for lineouts, it's massive for our pack, If you can give them those type of kicks that Mani does going to touch, it actually saves a lot of energy for our forwards. So that is something great. And we have to give credit to what he does also well on the field, And regarding the high balls, I can tell now, Stevie, your torso is not sharp. Exactly that what I was actually explaining earlier on to Art. We take pride in our kicking game. We take pride in our physical side of the game, and I think that's something that we didn't really do well when we played against the All Blacks in Auckland. And normally when we played, we normally dominate teams under the high balls and being physically strong up there. But we understand very well that game in Auckland, we didn't really execute what we wanted to execute, and it was one of our focus points. Going to this game, and you can't ask for a better guy like having Makazole Mapimpi, who's been there for us before, Kettle Ares, a player who's playing great rugby with confidence. Damien Valemse, is one of the best players under high balls. So I think also going to this game, we've got the right personnel also to be able to fix those mistakes for us. I want to, Katie, just to add on what I'm going to say this in English. The thing is, one thing that we've made peace with in our environment is the fact that, yes, you want people to talk about you. You want people to talk about the Springbok. The moment people stop talking about you, that means they stop caring, you know. So we understand and respect the fact that a lot of people in South Africa, they've always got their views about how we do things sometimes, you know, and we respect that. But once again, I think internally in our camp, every player understands where they stand with us as coaches. And Mzwandile Stick, that's why you can see the way he plays. He doesn't stop trying, you know, and he understands very well that there's a certain vibe that is happening amongst our camp and trust in him. So I don't think for us, it really does bother us as coaches, because we understand that with each and every player in our system, you can't expect plus minus 60 million people of South Africa to have the same idea. Do you understand? Even if I can ask you now, amongst you guys as journalists, to select your best probably possible 23 players, you guys will probably select 23 different teams. You see, so we understand that and we respect that and we want people to talk about it. So once again, I don't think for Mzwandile Stick, what the people are saying, yes, it's good. They must keep on talking about it, and it makes us better people also, you know. So yeah, they can keep on talking, and we appreciate all the concern, but yeah, we'll do everything in our powers to make sure we keep on making them proud.
Fantastic.